Hello and welcome to this video. Many years ago I was teaching in an office. Creative industries office, so you've got musicians, you've got actors, you've got painters and sculptors all together, all the teaching staff together. I'm in the row with all the music teaching staff. We're up the end working away, typing away. One guy at the other end, he's like really knowledgeable in art and stuff like that and a massive music fan, but not knowledgeable in music like us lot at the other end, you know. And he starts talking and we get on to drummers. He knows I play the drums, so he's asking me about something and he's saying, is this guy good, is that guy good? And he says at one point, he goes, what's that bloke like, is he any good, or is he just like Phil Collins? We're all working like this. There's about 4 of us. We're all working away. Yeah, no, he's good. And then my mate says, so Andy, is that bloke any good, or is he just rubbish like Phil Collins? What did you just say? Is he rubbish like Phil Collins? Excuse me? Rubbish in what way? You know, Phil Collins, he's not like a monster drummer, is he? I mean, that fill he does on In the Air Tonight, that's not that hard, is it? Well, not really, but it's iconic. But Phil Collins is a monster drummer. Is he really? Yeah, he's like a monster drummer. He's like ridiculous. He's like a ridiculous drummer. Is he really? But yeah, I wouldn't have thought that with all that rubbish music he does. Everyone does the same. What are you on about? All the rubbish music he does. You know, in the 1980s when he came out doing all that Susudio thing, you know, and all that Genesis stuff. Have you heard the 1970s stuff that Genesis did? No. Have you ever heard Brand X? No. Have you ever heard like all the session work he did like for Brian Eno and things like that? No. Right? Have you ever actually listened to In the Air Tonight or Against All the Odds or even Another Day in Paradise? Have you ever actually listened to them as songs? And the fact that he's singing it, his voice is incredible, his keyboard playing is brilliant, his songwriting's incredible, his drumming is brilliant. And not only that, those early 1980s albums changed the sound of popular music. Oh, I hadn't thought about it like that. So is Phil Collins good? He's not just good, he's amazing. So why does everyone think he's rubbish? I don't know. Perhaps because he's bald? Oh, do you think that's it? I don't know. The fact that he became the biggest pop star of the 1980s and nobody wants to admit that, and he was bald, and he acted in films, and the guy is about as good as it gets. Right? On this video, want to explain how much I love Phil Collins. Now, I've done a million videos on Phil Collins. I've even gone and sat with the great Al Murray, you know, the British comedy legend. He's gone on about how much he loves Phil Collins. At the moment, I've been chatting to a drummer, Steve Barney. He's played with everyone from bloody Jeff Beck to Anastasia to the Sugar Babes. He's like one of the great British drummers, a monster. And he wants to get together so we can talk about Phil Collins. In the industry, in the people in the know, everyone knows that Phil Collins is an absolute heavyweight. Now, on this video, I want to just spend 30 minutes to explain to you why I love Phil Collins so much and why he is so great. And I think the only way to do this is to zone in on a pivotal moment for him. And that's to zone on In the Air Tonight and discuss it with you. Okay? In the Air Tonight. So, Phil Collins starts off in showbiz. He's an actor. He appears in A Hard Day's Night, but his part is edited out. But he's in the West End playing the Artful Dodger. Cheeky Cockney character. Something that goes with Phil Collins. I don't think he is that. I think he's a sensitive artist, but his ability to portray a sort of cheeky working class Cockney character, is an aspect of Phil Collins. So when, a few years later, he's now an incredible drummer and he's trying to get a gig in London, and he turns up to that audition with a bunch of posh boys at Mike Rutherford's house, and he's swimming around in the swimming pool whilst everyone else is auditioning, and then he gets that gig because he's not only a monster drummer, but that cheeky Cockney ways, I think, balances, it works in Genesis. He's a little bit like a court jester, and even when they get back together a few years ago and they're all sat in a row chatting, you could see, although there's a darkness to Phil Collins, he's a great artist, you can also see that cheekiness arising. I could go on about what a great drummer is. I could go on about what he did with Genesis. I could go on about the incredible thing that when a progressive rock band loses one of the most iconic singers in the history of progressive rock, Phil then gets out the drums, goes up to the mic and nails it and makes that band even bigger. It's his ability to come up with stuff is incredible. Now, what I'm pulling up as I talk, because this videos, I really am just going at these really off the cuff. And there's no editing in here. What you see is what you get. And this week I'm going to be doing this, talking about artists I love, and it's a statement of intent for my channel, because I had a couple of days off. So what I've done here is I've got the details for In the Air Tonight, because I think if you look at Phil Collins' career, there is everything before In the Air Tonight, and what that is amazing prog drummer, lead singer of an amazing prog band, and a band that's moving towards being more commercial and able to traverse that journey from progressive rock band to a chart band. But with the album The Duke, no one's selling out at this point. There's no, Land of Confusions, which are great songs, yeah. So Phil finds himself at the end of the 70s in quite a strange place. Genesis had been around for a while. The money's coming in. He's now a rich man. Him and his wife decide to do what all good rock stars do, and that's to go out into the countryside and buy himself a nice big house. And he does that. And they always like it to be a bit dishevelled, don't they, the old rock and roll stars. And so, he gets in some people to start decorating up, and he goes back off on tour. And he's going to have a studio in there and all that type of thing. He goes away on tour, and of course the famous story is that his wife, who's sat there in this big house, ends up running off with the decorator that had come in to decorate the house. But that's interesting. But what it doesn't state is where Phil Collins is at. Because when he returns from tour and his wife's left him and now he's rattling around in this big home, thinking, what the hell am I here for? He would probably be much better off to be back living in the smaller place, probably in London or wherever it is. But he's now rattling around this big place. And he has the studio. Now, the thing that's interesting is that Phil Collins, as a creative man, is, with this record, interested in exploring ideas that are coming out from, well, to put it simply, Kraftwerk. Writing songs that are machine-like, electronic. And I think he's looking at his friends Peter Gabriel and Brian Eno, who he's worked with, and he's entering into the 1980s, this is 1981, with a different avant-garde approach to writing songs. Even though he's the prog drummer, even though he's the lead singer of Genesis, he is now making his own material. Now I have a list of what he's got here. He's utilising a sequential Circus Prophet 5. Right, he's got a Roland CR78, and he's got a drum machine pattern off that. It's actually disco pattern too, right, which is basically off the peg pattern. A little bit of processed electric guitar, a lot of vocoder. We could think of songs like Mr. Blue Skies, but the vocoder on In the Air Tonight, we sort of forget because the whole tune is so incredible. right? So this is dark and modernistic. It's not what you'd expect from, you know, a progressive rock drummer. In that he instills a dark anger. Now, on this series, I've talked about Kate Bush and I've talked about Joni Mitchell, and I've been talking about feminine energy. All right. Here we have something which is, it could veer into the misogynistic. This is a certain viewpoint here. So let's have a look at the lyrics, because I think that is a different way of approaching Phil. I can feel it coming in the air tonight, oh Lord. Now, this is interesting because the oh Lord bit puts us in a sort of spiritual, and the song has that aspect of it. It has an aspects of a sort of black American spiritual, but it's within, rather than those drums and the organ, this dark European electronic soundscape. I've been waiting for this moment all my life, oh Lord. Can you feel it coming in the air tonight, oh Lord? So this is almost like a cry for religious retribution, religious, more than that, like seeing the light, basically. This doesn't seem negative. This is something like going, oh Lord, I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming, oh Lord. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Oh Lord, I beseech you to transform me into a better person. Whatever people do when they put their hands together and pray. In this dark moment, Phil Collins is praying. He's in a place. This place isn't an idealized place for a song. This is a real place. He is asking for forgiveness, for spiritual sustenance, for a place where he isn't dogged by all this pain and anger. That's how it starts up. And when I hear it, I imagine we're in the dark. It's late at night, probably because he says, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. But I can hear, I can sort of feel, not hear, I can feel him in a house, but I can feel outside the house and in the house. The environment, the atmosphere is impinging on this man's mental state. Then the whole song shifts. Well, if you told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. Right? This person, it's full of hate. He wouldn't save their life. Look at me. I'm a different person. Look at me. The anger is creating something where you go, this really has changed. We've all been there. We've all felt that. When you are pushed to a point where you go, no, this has changed now. You have to understand this situation has changed. I have changed. Look at me. I'm not who you think I am. The person you think I am, I'm not. It's imploring you to not treat that person in that way. All right? Oh, Lord, help me. Oh, Lord, help me. You do not realize I've changed. He's asking to change. Now he's saying he has changed. This is dark. It's incredibly dark. In fact, for a song which has such cultural cash, this is about as dark as it gets. We can all wax lyrically about Every Breath You Take, where Sting is imagining that, you know, he is stalking and following somebody. But Sting's imagining it. We expect Sting to intellectually be able to do that. He's such a literate person, isn't he, old Sting? And it's incredible. Everyone sings it at people's weddings, but that song's dark. But it's not dark like this, because Phil Collins here is dark. This is real. Right? Artists can express how they feel, and that expression be hate. Right? I have had a week off this channel. I have been grappling with what this channel is about. It's about love and hate. Here I've been describing how much I love Phil Collins. It's a love letter to Phil Collins. If Phil was to watch this, right, I would hope he goes, my God, that guy is trying to express how much he loves what I do. And not only that, I'm pushing against this idea that Phil, we know Phil's great, but he's very middle of the road, isn't it? And he does this and he does that. Well, maybe he has, but not here. This is as dark as it gets. Well, I was there. I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. So you can wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies. It's just, he's owning the person. He is finding the strength to stand up. Here is this guy in his house all alone with just his recording studio, with these tools, bloody mad little drum machines and vocoders, right, and all this stuff. Can you possibly utilise this? Yes, I can. I can utilise to create this dark, bloody electronic court, moral court, where I'm going to put you on the stand and you deserve, because you've got away with it. But you don't get away with it because I saw it. And I can do this on my channel if I want. And you could do it. I can come out here and say I hate something. And sometimes it's like Sting, it's pseudo dark. But this week, if you go back and go through the videos, all these videos have been made on the same day. There's a reason for that. I have had a week off. I am returning. And I am stating what my channel is about. And there is real hate on some of these videos for people I know. And there is embodied in those videos who those people are. Some of them I've never met, but they have really got to me, right? And they're probably happy that they've got to me. They probably see it as a victory that they've got to me. But I have sat here before you, right, after negotiating the idea of who I am. Why do I make my living? I make my living really simply by coming on here and exposing myself to you, like these artists do, truthfully. And some people do get to me. And when people put comments on it, they get to me. I'm a human being. Am I right for feeling like it? Well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Is Phil right for this? For wanting death upon somebody who has crossed him? It's powerful stuff. Should the artist do that? Should the artist do that in a pop song? Andy, watch what you're doing. There's all these laws out there. You don't want to be inciting violence. I mean, you're going on about Phil Collins here. He wants to drown his wife. No, he doesn't want to drown his wife. He's very clever. He said if she was drowning, he wouldn't lend a hand. He would stand there and watch her as she looks into his eyes saying, please, just grab me, please, just for the love of humanity. No. I'm waiting to watch you go under. I want to see the fear on your face. Right, as you realise you have to take that gulp, and that gulp fills your lungs with death. I want to see it on your face. That's what this song's about, because I saw what you did, and this is your punishment. Blah, 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 blah. That's why that's so important, because suddenly this bloke that has been shifted into this bloody parallel world, of bloody, electronic drums, Kraftwerk, and all this darkness, and he's castrated himself the power of Phil Collins, the power of the drums, not some technical power, visceral power. Right? How am I going to show this to you on this song, how I feel? I am going to have this dystopian, dark drum machine landscape. You're never going to have heard anything like this on a song before. It's going to be so minimal, but the song will exist absolutely perfect. I will pull that off. And through vocoders, right, I will utilise that. Now, I've jumped the gun because the drum beat is not about to come in. Right? Because what we actually get is this. He says, and I can feel it coming in the air tonight. We haven't got the drum beat yet. Oh, Lord. It's gone back to the first verse. Well, I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Oh, Lord. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, Lord. And I've been waiting for this moment all my life. It's now more talky. And then he does, for me, another groundbreaking, shocking moment. And he says, well, I remember. And that memory comes surging forth as though it suddenly appeared. It's actually this sort of dynamic vocoder effect. When this single came out, it wasn't the drum fill that blew me away. It was the, I remember. I remember, don't worry. How could I ever forget? Did you forgotten it? How could I forget it? Here's that memory. It comes charging through. Right? It comes charging through. I cannot hold it back. It's the first time, the last time we ever met. But I know the reason why you keep your silence up. No, you don't fool me. Well, the hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. It's no stranger to you and me. There we go. Right? And so this really is, again, about trauma. Not childhood trauma, it's about contemporary trauma. And it's about the way that people deal with it, and the masculine way in which we can deal with it. This is full of aggression. It's a will to power. And then we go out with the full drums, everything's in place. Phil Collins has found his mojo, he's back on the drums, right? And he goes, and we just have the spiritual again. He's cleansed. This process has cleansed him, perhaps. Now, what I find absolutely mind-blowing about this track is the fact that everything he utilises in the service of this song is as good as it can be. I need a big drum fill. I've been in the studio. We need a big drum fill here. Phil, have you got a big drum fill? Well, I've actually got what will become the biggest drum fill in history. It's incredible. Right? The vocal hook, you know. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, there's your hook. It's a pop song. It's simple, it works. But in the context of this, it's shocking. Now, of course, what's bonkers is that this record comes out. Right, and if I just get back to some facts about it so I can tell you. Collins co-produced In the Air Tonight with Hugh Padgham, who became a frequent collaborator in the following years. It reached number 2 in the UK singles charts and reached number 1 in Austria, Sweden, Switzerland, West Germany, and number 2 in Canada, and top 10 in Australia, New Zealand, and several other European territories. In the United States, it reached number 19 on the Billboard Hot 100 and reached number 2 on the Rock Charts chart. Later certified gold by the RIAA, representing 500,000 copies sold. Right? This is an incredible achievement, and it carves out a songwriting process that Phil Collins is now going to utilise. So from now on, he's writing with these little chirpy drum machines. Sometimes you feel that's integrated into the songwriter, and sometimes it doesn't. But he, here, I think, makes that journey from the 1970s and 1980s more successfully than anybody. Right? This is greater than anything that ever went on before. Now, at that point, what does Phil do? Genesis changes. You get Mama, which comes out on the Genesis album 1983, and it's like a companion piece to this. Even darker, but this time exploring childhood trauma that goes back to your mother. Now, I've just dealt with this on my Joni Mitchell video. And what I'm trying to do on these videos, I'm trying to really get into why I love the music so much. I'm trying to express it. And I think that Joni Mitchell, in exploring that trauma, which I think Mama also explores, I actually went to a place I've never been to on a YouTube video before. It's really interesting, this series of videos I'm doing. This is killing me. I'm going to do this all in one day. I'm going to do a week's worth of videos in one day, and they all relate. Everything is linked here. And so the points I'm making, they ally with other points on other videos. You really need to watch the whole lot. and you have to ask, why is Kate Bush, you know, why is Phil Collins, why is Queen, what have they all got in common, what is going on here, because there are things here that I'm not explaining. After this, and the thing is, I have to say, the drum fill, obviously he demoed it, he goes to the studio, he's going to do the drum fill. Now this drum sound wasn't created for this sound. Hugh Padgham and Phil Collins had already negotiated it by the time they got to this. It was on an earlier recording. But basically, when you're in a recording studio, the drums are, you feel a little bit disconnected with the control room. So you'll be sit here like this, there might be a glass thing, you can't hear what anyone's saying in there, but you're connected to the control room. If you're in big studios like these rock stars are, that's a big distance, and they talk to you through a thing on the desk. Now back in these days, they had a special microphone on the desk that fed into a microphone in your room, and so they could hear what was going on. They had like a limiter compressor on that microphone. Now what that means is that if you said something very quietly, the compressor would pull it up in volume. But if you did something very loud, the limiter and compressor would push it back down in volume. So a drum sound that does this, boom, the tail of that drums is pulled out by the compressor. So it goes, whoosh. The gate on there to keep it under control then shuts it off. So a tom no longer sounds dumb. It goes, and it's the gated reverb. It's the gated reverb. Now that reverb is not them passing it through a reverb effects. The sound was discovered because they were listening to the talkback microphone in a room of a certain size. Right? Now we can mimic that here right now by utilizing my little microphone here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my tom that's behind me. I'm going to hit it. You should get a little bit of reverb, especially if I can get you further away. In fact, let's do it with this drum here. So we're going to do it with this drum here. I'm going to go over here. So I'm right over the other side of the room, and you can now hear the room. Now listen to this. And when I get home, this video will be edited. The rest aren't going to be edited, but this video will be edited. And what I will do is I'll take that tom and I will manually compress it, which means I will just turn up the tail, and then I will cut it up and I will put it over and over again. That is the sound. So I have technically explained what gated reverb is. They don't do it like that, but I've manually done it for you so you can see it in a way with your own eyes. So this video has been me trying to explain why I love Phil Collins so much. I hope I've done that. Hope Phil Collins fans feel that. Phil Collins is a really great artist. Yes, he might have done some middle of the road stuff. Yes, he might have had fun and done some old soul songs like You Can't Hurry Love, where he plays all the parts, and he did all that, and I'm sure he enjoyed it very much. Right? Maybe those are different to this. But within this catalogue, there is stuff of such heaviness and such darkness. And this guy, our establishment narrative for music, the critics do not understand music and they can't talk about it. It's for us YouTubers to try and explain how great these artists are, because where everybody loves David Bowie and they all want to just spin out how great he is, despite a whole bunch of cruddy albums, they won't do the same with Phil Collins. I've tried to do it here. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.